Hello from Sugar Shack 7. We are going to wrap up our series on the coincidences, and we've got some awesome coincidences for you today. Again, as always, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We've got so many videos coming out each week. We want to entertain you with some awesome videos. Before I get started, I want to ask you, what in the world could two people have in such common that they lived 157 years apart? It will blow your mind. That is going to come up on number 7. Are you ready? Let's go. Number 1, I have heard coincidences between former President Abe Lincoln and President John F. Kennedy before, but it always sends shivers down my spine. They are absolutely crazy. They were elected to Congress 100 years apart. Lincoln was elected in 1846 and Kennedy was elected in 1946. They were also elected as president 100 years apart. Lincoln was elected in 1860 and Kennedy was elected in 1960. They were both assassinated by Southerners, both shot on Friday and both shot in the head. They were also killed by two people with 3 names, and those names each had 15 letters. After being assassinated, their successor had the last name of Johnson, and Andrew Johnson replaced Lincoln and Lyndon Johnson replaced Kennedy. That's a lot of coincidences between the two of them. Number 2, who doesn't love a story of family members finding each other? I always find myself crying watching a child finding their parents or siblings finding one another. This story will blow your mind. When these siblings were just 3 months old, Rosie Davies had been given up for adoption. She eventually settled with a foster family and remained with them through her adolescent years and teenage years. As she grew older, she found out she had 3 brothers, Sid and John. They were actually very easy for her to find, but they couldn't find the younger brother, and his name was Chris. Then one day she found him. I bet you'll never guess where they found him. He was actually living right across the street from her with his family. They had known each other for about 3 months before she found out they were actually related. Not only was Rosie trying to find Chris, but Chris was searching for Rosie. Number 3, I'm such a sucker for love stories. I don't know about you. This one is pretty cool. Amy Maiden and Nick Wheeler were engaged to be married. One day they were at Nick's grandparents' looking through photo albums. They found a photo of Nick at the beach in Cornwall, England. When they looked closer, Amy noticed that it was her in the background. This picture was taken 11 years before they were set to be married. They ended up getting married on the same beach where the picture was taken. Number 4, do some of you have lucky numbers? Well, King Louis XVI of France had an unlucky number, and it was 21. Myself, I'm not a fan of astrology, but when he was young, an astrologer warned him to be careful of the number 21. This gave the king some concern, but in time he learned to overlook it and didn't give it much thought. But we can find some interesting points in history regarding the king and the number 21. On June 21st of 1791, after the French Revolution, King Louis and his queen were arrested while trying to escape France. On September 21st, 1791, France decided to get rid of their royalty and become a republic, which in turn led to January 21st, 1793, the day that King Louis XVI was beheaded from a guillotine. Astrology, I think not. Great coincidence? I think so. Number 5, terrorism is a horrible plague on society. Many lives have been destroyed by it. But a couple from Birmingham, England can thank their lucky stars. Jason and Jenny Carnes Lawrence loved to travel abroad to explore the world. They witnessed 3 separate international terrorist attacks in a total of 7 years. They were in New York when the Twin Towers were struck on September 11th of 2001. But then in 2005, they were also in London when there was a series of suicide attacks in the tube trains and a bus which killed 52 civilians. That's not it. They were also in Mumbai in November of 2008. This is when there was a large coordinated shooting and bombing spree throughout the city. Jenny said, "It's a strange coincidence. The terror attacks just happened when we were in these cities." Number 6, sometimes reading a great spy novel can put you into the author's gripping world. Norman Mailer was an American novelist who started working on a book called Barbary Shore. Within this book, he added a character that would become a Russian spy in the U.S. As time went by in writing the book, what was a minor character became a major piece in the twisting plot. After publishing the book, there was a major event that took place in the apartment building Norman was living in. A U.S. agency stormed an apartment above Norman's. They arrested a man, Colonel Rudolph Abel, who was accused of being a top Russian spy who was working in the U.S. Number 7, can you imagine two lives coming together, but they lived 157 years apart? On May 27th, there were two bodies found and identified. They both were murdered in a horrific manner. Their names were Barbara and Mary. Their bodies were found only 300 yards apart on the same day. But remember, this happened 157 years apart. The men accused of the horrific murders of both women had the same last name, Thornton, and both of them were acquitted of the crimes. But that's not all. Some of the strange coincidences were that both women were 20 years old when they were murdered. They shared the same birthday. Both women had visited a friend that evening before they were killed. They had changed into brand new dresses that night they were killed and also went to a dance the night they were killed. Hopefully you enjoyed this 6-part series of Sugar Shack 7. If you missed the other 5, make sure you go to our playlist and watch the other coincidences. They're absolutely amazing. And as always, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We are always putting out some amazing videos. Again, you have an awesome day.